back here. It's KVRX Austin, HD2, Will Bazarski, Matt Hand, Zach Dolans, Bazar Sports Radio. We got some good stuff this week.
We do. We would like to start off today by congratulating you, Will, on a win in Fortnite. That's a big accomplishment. You've joined some elite company with that. And
Elite meaning you?
Matt and I, yes, of course. Not Matt. Matt's not part of this elite company.
No, not yet.
But we're very proud of you.
I appreciate it. It was a fun game.
But we're going to start off continuing where we were last week. I mentioned the USA women's game, women's hockey final versus Canada. USA won. Very exciting game. They won 3-2 in the shootout. They broke Canada's 16-year gold medal streak. This is the first time the USA has won a gold medal in women's hockey in 20 years. They outshot Canada 42-31. In the shootout, Jocelyn Lamoureux had a nasty deke.
Nasty.
Oh my God, that was so pretty.
Incredible. Amanda Kessel also had a clutch shootout goal to put the USA back in the game, or back in the shootout after Canada scored a goal to put them up 2-1. And then in regulation, Hillary Knight scored and Monique Lamoureux also scored for the USA. Lamoureux scored a late goal in the third period. So all around a great performance by the USA. Very proud of the ladies. But now we're going to move on to very recent sport news in the past couple days.
Yeah, we'll let Zach take this one because Matt Forte played for the Bears.
Yeah, Matt Forte, longtime Chicago Bears player. Loved him there. He's a two-time Pro Bowler. Also spent some time in New York with the Jets. He announced this morning that he's going to retire. He said it is time for the workhorse to finally rest in the stable. Matt Forte, great player.
Workhorse, 54 rushing touchdowns, 21 receiving touchdowns. Career 9,796 yards rushing. Remarkable career from him.
Doesn't even take into account all his receiving yards, too. He was a great catcher.
One of the greatest receiving running backs of recent memory.
That's 4.2 yards per rush. So
And staying with the NFL, Jerry Jones has been fined at least $2 million by the NFL. If you want to elaborate on that, Zach or Will?
Okay. Basically, he's had a pretty public feud between him and Roger Goodell, and basically he's being fined now for his efforts to derail negotiations to renew Goodell's contract and for his outspoken defense of a star player, that being Ezekiel Elliott, who was suspended according to 5 league officials with direct knowledge of this situation.
I can tell you right now, Jerry Jones does not like Goodell very much.
Does not like who very much?
Roger Goodell.
I don't think anyone likes Roger Goodell very much.
You try to get him fired, try to get it.
Yes.
So you're not.
He wants all
contract.
the power in the NFL.
Oh, yes, he does.
He has all the power with the Cowboys. He wants more.
Yeah, he needs everything.
And I think this is finally a good move by Goodell to actually do something about it.
Yeah. And you know who has a lot of power now?
Who?
Jacksonville Jaguar Blake Bortles signed through 2020, $54 million, 26.5 guaranteed. A lot of power down there in Florida.
I don't think money equates to power, but yes, he did get a lot of money in that contract. They had a great season this year. I think they went 10-6.
Good for Blake.
Made it to the AFC Championship game. They did very, very well.
Better than anyone expected.
Yeah, better than I expected. They had one of the worst odds to win going into win the Super Bowl. Obviously, they didn't win the Super Bowl, but they outperformed everyone. Bortles looked amazing this season. Obviously, earned that contract. We're moving on from football to the other kind of football, soccer. Neymar has. It's officially announced today that Neymar will be getting surgery on his foot. Do you want to elaborate on that?
So basically yesterday morning it was announced that the PSG superstar will have surgery on his foot, and there is a big match next week, Champions League match versus Real Madrid. It was announced that he will be out for that. He's going to be out till May. Not even 2 hours later, the PSG coach quickly denied this statement. He says the reports are totally false. He will be back next week against Real Madrid. And everyone's like, okay, it's kind of weird. And then again this morning, officially now, Neymar will be getting surgery on his foot. So a lot of weird stuff happening over there in Paris, but it seems that Neymar will be out next week versus Real Madrid.
And, we were talking, the miscommunication there with Neymar. Is he going to be out? Is he not? What's the deal? A little miscommunication last week. We said Kawhi will not return.
Yep.
He'll be back in probably March is what we're thinking.
Yeah, so last week we said Greg Popovich, the coach of the Spurs, he did not expect Kawhi to be back, but as of later in the past week, Kawhi says that he could return in March.
Yeah, I mean,
Go Spurs.
moving on, more basketball. The NIT will experiment with some new rule changes.
This is gonna be interesting. So they're gonna move back the 3-point line to 20 inches back from where it is. That is according to FIBA international rules. They're gonna change the time. Instead of two 20-minute halves, it's gonna be 4 10-minute quarters. Women's basketball, NCAA adopted that back in 2015. The double bonus begins with when each team reaches 5 fouls. And then the shot clock is moving down from 30 to 20. They're talking about there's going to be some experiment in order to look at it from when they look. 2019 is the year that they can officially change some of the rules in the NCAA. They're trying to experiment a little bit. I like it. They did this in the NFL with the bringing back the field goal or extra point tries, and then they did implement that later, or a couple years later. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the next few years in college basketball.
Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting to see. It's a different format than what we've always known to be college basketball. Maybe this will work better. I think it'll be a much faster game now, obviously with the shot clock being shorter.
Yeah.
So we'll see how teams adapt to it, how they change their way of play for this.
Yeah, and now we got NBA Commissioner Adam Silver warns teams that tanking has no place in our game. He has fined Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban $600,000 for the claims that he told his team that we're going to sit this one out, basically get the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah. Actually, very funny comment about this. Robin Lopez, starting center for the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, Bulls, not one of the better teams in the NBA. A lot of people have suggested that they tank this year because, I mean, being a Bulls fan, we would love a top draft pick. I'm all for tanking. But Robin Lopez was asked, this is after Mark Cuban was fined a lot of money for saying that the Mavericks should tank. So Robin Lopez later asked, should the Bulls tank? And his response was, I'm not familiar with military artillery. It's the wrong kind of tank, Robin Lopez. But I think that's very funny. I think that's the right way to answer that question.
I agree. You add a little humor at the same time. You completely deny all allegations.
There are definitely a lot of wrong ways to answer that question. I think he nailed it.
And then I have a question for both you, Zach and Will. LeBron for MVP. What do you think?
I mean, for the first time in LeBron's career, this is at his age right now. We keep saying he's getting better every year. So now for the first time in his career, he finished a month, that month being February, he finished the month with averaging a triple-double. First time in his career that he's done that.
I can see that. LeBron, yeah, like you said, excellent month. But in my mind, I see James Harden is still a little bit in front of him through the success he's had in the previously in the year. And if he continues to be like he is throughout the year, I think Harden would pull away. But that month from LeBron James, wow.
Sure.
Extraordinary.
And in addition to that, last night with their win over the Nets, LeBron also became the first player in NBA history, this is huge, first time in NBA history that a player has had, for his career, 30,000 points, 8,000 rebounds, and 8,000 assists.
Wow. It's kind of like you're stealing Matt's 5 fast facts right from my hands.
Well, I'm sorry, we're not there yet.
No, it's okay.
Well, in addition...
But no, that's an incredible stat.
Yeah. And then in addition to talking about LeBron for MVP, a little guy named Anthony Davis has made a name for himself recently.
Oh, yeah.
Pelicans now run 6 in a row. He had 53 points the other night, double-double. Look at him for MVP talks, too.
We could look at him. I'm going with James Harden still. I like that in Houston. No bias there.
No bias, of course.
But Houston has really played great basketball this season. I was listening to Colin Cowherd this morning. Houston is 30-1 when Clint Capella, Chris Paul, and James Harden are on the floor. Sounds like a power of 3 to me.
Well, it sounds like a great team, but who's an MVP? LeBron, who is carrying the new look Cavs, or the 3 guys on the Rockets. They're a big power 3. No, nothing against the Rockets. I think, and Harden said it yesterday, he says that this is the best team he's ever been a part of, and he truly believes that the Rockets will win championship this year, which I think is very possible, but is he an MVP?
I think he is. I really do. But I do think with these stats of LeBron, if he continues this up, keeps going, it's going to be LeBron.
Sure.
With that, we're going to move from basketball to, well, it's kind of basketball, you could say. Seattle group that has basically brought in an NHL team to Seattle is thinking about bringing the NBA after they bring in the NHL. My question, both of y'all, will Las Vegas have an NBA team before Seattle or the other way around?
NHL first. They've already scheduled.
No. Seattle or Vegas?
Oh, Seattle. Oh, my bad. I didn't understand the question. I think Seattle will have an NHL team before the NBA. Currently, the NHL has.
No, will they?
I mean, before. I know what you're saying. Seattle. Shoot, I can't. I've confused myself. Zach, talk. I'm gonna get my head straight.
I think that. Well, I think it depends on how the Raiders do in Vegas. Obviously, they have the Golden Knights. They're playing great. They already have another team coming in with the Raiders in about 2 years. So they're doing a lot right now. Vegas has a lot of stress on them with 2 new teams. That's a lot of money that they're putting into these teams. New stadiums. If they bring in an NBA or an NHL, or if they bring in an NBA team, I guess they already have a stadium. But if they bring in an NFL team, that's a whole new stadium. Or I guess they got the Raiders.
Right.
They already have an NHL team.
No, I'm saying who's going to come first?
You're right, Matt, this is so confusing.
Are we going to see an NBA team in Seattle first or in Las Vegas?
Okay.
We're gonna see. Okay, here's what I was trying to say. We're gonna see an NBA team in Seattle before we see one in Vegas. My reasoning, my argument for this is, Vegas already has the Knights. They're already gonna have the Raiders. Seattle has nothing right now. Most likely.
Well, they have football and baseball.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is most likely. Well, Vegas is so busy with all these teams right now moving in. Seattle's going to have the Key Arena all set up, all ready for an NBA team and an NHL team. NHL's going to come in. They're going to see how well that does, which in Seattle, hockey will do very well. I'm sure Northwest, Vancouver already does great.
Right.
I feel like once they get the NHL team in and settled, Vegas is still working on getting all of their franchises in.
Right,
Seattle's already kind of used to that. I think Seattle's going to be more... they're going to be able to get a basketball team faster, more... I don't know how to describe it. It's going to be a lot easier for them to get a basketball team.
I'm going to disagree with you because you did say that they're having so much success in Vegas right now. You see success from the Raiders moving to Vegas. People are going to want to jump on this. They're going to want to move teams as quickly as possible to Vegas with all this success. But you're going to want to see a basketball team there.
You can't really say that there's a lot of success when you only have, right now, one team that's actually played in Vegas, and they haven't even played a full season in Vegas.
The market in Vegas for sports, because so many people visit for sports betting, is huge. You're going to want to see more teams there.
Sure.
It's going to bring in a larger audience.
I agree with that. It's an untapped market in sports, or recently untapped market. But Seattle, who doesn't want to see the Supersonics back? That'd be great.
Right.
There's a lot of hype specifically for NBA in Seattle, and that's one of the main reasons too.
The Las Vegas Gamblers would be pretty sweet.
That would be cool. Now we're gonna move on to a little bit of golf. The U.S. Open has abandoned their 18-hole playoff for a 2-hole playoff.
I actually like this. So reason being is, for the U.S. Open's very different from all the other golf tournaments, all the other majors.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tie at the end of the tournament. They will wait till Monday, and they'll play an additional 18 holes to decide the winner. I've liked that in recent years, but with all these tournaments changing their philosophy and the media, news networks, they want to see it end on Sunday.
Yeah.
One, because people aren't missing work to go to the tournaments.
Yeah.
And it helps. You want everything ending on Sunday. You don't want to have to come back on Monday. Players really don't want to come back on Monday. They have a tournament the following week. Then you're going to have to push back the next tournament.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like it.
And, Stuart Sink, winner of the 2009 British Open at Turnberry, said the same. They've got the captive audience. The players are at the peak of their games. Why not let them duke it out? I totally agree. They're ready to go. Don't let them sleep on it. Just best of the best right there, then and there.
I like it. Moving on to some fantastic news. My favorite news story of this week. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, the high school that had the school shooting. Some good news coming out of there. They won the state hockey title in dramatic fashion as well. They were the lowest seed in the tournament. They went into the semifinals 0-3. They were 0-3 in their first 3 games, but they pulled off a huge upset in both their games. And they took home the state title, which is fantastic news. You need a little bit of positivity out there. Obviously, it's tragic what happened, but it's really great to see this kind of news.
I agree.
And then moving on, staying with hockey, NHL trade deadline this week. So this Monday, there were a ton of trades. This is one of the most exciting trade deadlines in a while. I'm just going to go over some relevant trades that went down. So to start off, Ottawa Senators got defenseman Ian Cole from Columbus Blue Jackets for a 2020 third-round pick and Nick Mutry. The Bruins got Rick Nash from the New York Rangers and gave up a first-round pick in 2018, a seventh-round pick in 2019, Ryan Spooner, Matt Bolesky, Ryan Lindgren, and that's one of the biggest trades. Rick Nash going to Bruins. Personally, I think they gave up a little too much, but we're going to move on because we have so much to cover here. Nashville has acquired Ryan Hartman and a 2018 fifth-round pick from Chicago for a 2018
Blackhawks.
Yes, a 2018 first-round pick, Victor Edsel, and a fourth-round pick in 2018. Winnipeg has acquired Paul Stastny from St. Louis for a conditional 2018 first-round pick, conditional fourth-round pick in 2020, and prospect Eric Foley. San Jose has acquired Evander Kane from Buffalo for a conditional first-round pick in 2019, conditional fourth round in 2020, and prospect Daniel Regan. Columbus Blue Jackets have acquired Thomas Vanek from Vancouver for UC Jokinen and Tyler Mott. The Vegas Golden Knights have acquired Thomas Tatar from Detroit in exchange for a 2018 first round, a 2019 second round, and a 2021 third round, and arguably the biggest trade of the deadline. Tampa Bay Lightning has acquired Ryan McDonough and JT Miller from the Rangers for a first-round 2018 pick, a conditional second-round pick in 2018, Vladislav Nemestikov, Libor Hayek, and Brett Howden.
Wow.
You can tell that Tampa Bay right now is the number one. That's a lot of trades, but I want to focus on the last one real quick. Tampa Bay right now, most points in the NHL. They just gave up a first and a second round for two huge pieces with JT Miller and Ryan McDonough. They're going all out. They're pushing. Their cup window is wide open, and they're full steam ahead now.
I can tell you this: they're not tanking.
Thank you for the NHL insight, Matt. Moving on to college basketball. Love talking about college basketball. It's that time of year. March starts tomorrow, which means March Madness is right around the corner.
Yep.
However, there are some scandals surrounding paying recruits to come to certain teams.
Yes, Pretty Little Liars. Oh, no, not the TV show. We're talking about, like, real stuff.
Real life. This is
real stuff.
So basically, potential impermissible benefits and preferential treatment were given to players and families from certain schools. Schools that have been, they've said they've done stuff is Alabama, Duke, Kentucky, LSU, Maryland, Michigan State, NC State, UNC, Seton Hall, Texas, that's us, USC, and Washington.
Is it? Are we Texas?
We are Texas.
Oh, wow.
That Texas player being Eric Davis, reportedly given $1,500. A whole $1,500.
Wow.
To come to Texas. And he has since been suspended by the university, and he has not played since these allegations have came out.
Yep. And then speaking of not playing, I guess not coaching, Sean Miller.
Ever again.
Probably ever
again.
Yeah, there was a FBI wiretape that said that he was paying DeAndre Ayton, their star player and potential top 5 pick in next year's draft, $100,000 to come to Arizona.
It's a lot of money.
I mean, what do y'all think about this? What do y'all think about paying players to come to universities?
I think that I'll start off by saying I think that since there are obviously rules against it, I think what Sean Miller did was terribly wrong, and it makes you wonder, like, he's had a great career in Arizona, but how long has he been doing this for? That's obviously going to put a big damper on his career and on his legacy as a coach, so he probably won't have a coach again. But personally, I think that college basketball players do deserve to be paid. I think at least to some extent. What do you think?
Here's my problem with it. Schools have been paying guys for so long. It's under the radar. They do it in some different way, some different form and fashion. People have they've been paying recruits. They've been paying guys to come to the university. It's been happening since Bear Bryant. Let's be real. The only reason why this is such a big deal is because these are big name schools. Think about it. If somebody said, if these allegations were against Alabama, it'd be top news. If you see it against North Dakota State, maybe not. If it happens to your university, you're going to start caring. It's been happening. It's basically like we were talking about. There's two coaches. There's one who doesn't say anything, and there's one who says whatever it takes. In this case, everyone's like, whatever it takes, until you find out, and now you just want to be silent about it. I think you've been paying them ever since the beginning of college sports. Nothing's going to change. In order to change it, you got to pay them something. There has to be something involved. Half these guys don't even want to go to college. They just want to go straight to the pros.
Yep.
So why don't you let them? Baseball really doesn't have a problem paying for recruits because half the guys go to the draft who are picked in the top 10. They don't have a problem. Mm-hmm. You either go to college for the education and the athletic abilities, You either go because, one, you want to get to the next level, that's your only way.
But at the same time, you hear the argument that they're students first, and that's what a lot of these people are. I mean, a lot of them, most of them, won't go to the NBA. It's a lot harder to make the NBA than it is to go professional in basically any other sport that you come out of in college. So that's what they're saying with that. And you could also make the argument that, sure, they're getting paid with, like, scholarships, and a lot of people would agree with that, that's, like, payment enough.
Yeah.
Here, the college athlete is a job. You're getting paid to go to school. You're getting your school paid for, housing. But it's a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour job. If you're not in class, you're practicing. If you're not practicing, you're playing. If you're not playing, you're sleeping. If you're not sleeping, you're working out. There's just so much that goes into it. There's not a lot of free time. It is a job. That's why you see so many guys, especially in college football, they'll be getting married their senior year because it's basically a job. You could say a lot of people don't get married in college because, you're a college student. But to them, this is a 4-year job to get to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not working like you just described it, you're not going to get to the pros.
Right, exactly. You're not getting to the next level. There you go.
Yeah. All right, but we're going to move on now. Question from Herb from San Antonio. Do you think Mo Bamba got paid to come to Texas?
No.
No.
They already investigated it. There's no reason to go into detail about it. And honestly, if he did, then this FBI investigation would solve it.
It would have.
It would have solved it.
I mean, if you can nab Eric Davis, you
Right.
can definitely nab Mo Bamba.
Right, exactly. Out of all people. Out of all people.
Yeah, but
we're going to stick with that Texas Longhorn topic because
let's move on to basketball.
we're not too happy about this. But TeamRanking.com reports Texas has a 13.4% chance to make the tournament. Before the Kansas loss, they were up. It was 22.6% higher than it is now. That's how much it's dropped. And if they say if we do make the tournament, we'll be the number 12 seed. And that goes back to my point. We needed to win 2 of those 4 games. We beat Oklahoma State.
We need one more. Next game is Saturday, last game of the season. Home against West Virginia. I'll be there. You guys be there?
I'll be playing golf with my dad. I'm excited. I'm excited. He's listening. I'm very excited. He's going to beat me this time.
Oh, yeah?
I think it'll be fun.
So I think we're going to have to cover that next week.
We'll have to cover that.
We will definitely
a little
talk about
recap.
this game next week. We might be in tears sitting here if we don't make the tournament, but as of now, I think that Joe Lunardi said today that we're still a last 4-8 team, which means we would play the play-in game against a team like Syracuse or Baylor now is what it looks like. I would obviously love to see us in the tournament, even if it's a playing game. I think that any way we can do it is more than enough.
But here's where I have some hope about Saturday. I'm not going to be there, but look at this. After a win, we're 7-10. After a loss, 9-3. Tells us a lot about Texas basketball. Can they bounce back?
Yeah. So if we lose on Saturday, we are 4 games below 500 in conference, and the last time a team got an at-large bid by also being 4 under 500 conference was 20 years ago. That they haven't done that in 20 years. So if we lose, there's no chance for an at-large bid, but like I said, we still have the chance for the win.
Here's the good thing. Here's my thoughts. I think that if we go up against West Virginia, since we lost by 30 points last time, Texas plays up to their opponents, and they play down to their opponents too. We're going to be playing up heavily to West Virginia.
And West Virginia just had a very good win last night.
They
The
did.
night before.
Well, we better shoot better than our season average of 49.4% from the field, which is 230th in college basketball. If we don't shoot higher than that, we're not going to be able to beat West Virginia. They are a very high percentage team from the line and from three-point range and from the field. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, and with that, a lot of Texas basketball. We got Matt's 5 Fast Facts. We don't want to forget that.
All right, wait.
No.
Real quick, though, we just want to note Andrew Jones has left the hospital. That's great news. We love to see that. He starts his outpatient treatment for leukemia. Love to see the progress. But now we're going to move on to Fast 5 Facts. Number 1, Russia has never won a gold in men's Olympic hockey. Obviously, the OAR did win last week, but the Soviet Union has won gold. The unified team has won gold. The OAR has won Olympic gold, but never Russia, which I think is pretty interesting.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Number 2, LeBron James is on pace to play 82 games this season. This is the first time he's been on pace or will play 82 games in his 15-year career. Number 3, the Houston Rockets are 30-3 when James Harden and Chris Paul have played. This would equate to an NBA record 74 wins.
I didn't steal that from you. It was I said I added Capella, so that's 2 games without Capella. Go on.
And then number 4, Giannis Antetokounmpo has averaged 27.8 points per game, 10.4 rebounds per game, and 4.8 assists per game. Only 5 players have averaged this since 1967, and they have all gone on to win the MVP.
He's one of my favorite players to watch.
He's
for sure.
He's very exciting.
He's exceptional.
He's great. And then number 5, since 1960, there have been 63 expansion teams in the 4 major sports: NFL, NBA, NHL, and I'm forgetting what, MLB.
How could you forget?
And
Dodgers.
and but none of them have had a winning record in their first season. And in their first seasons, 21 of the 63 teams have finished with the worst record in the league. Currently, though, the Vegas Golden Knights are 1 win away from clinching a winning record, and they still have 20 more games to play.
That's amazing.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Am I right?
That's what the other teams are saying.
That's what the other teams are saying. 'Cause apparently, they're not winning very much.
No,
not at all.
There's definitely a home ice advantage.
Home ice.
All right, we'll call it.
Yeah, home ice.
Home
ice.
It's a
Home
thing
ice.
for sure. Wherever you go, even in Chicago, there's a huge home ice advantage.
Yeah.
Well, Houston, there's not because as well.
Oh,
we don't have a hockey team.
Oh no,
Poor
the Texas
Will.
team with the terrible market
Oh no,
doesn't
we
have
just
a
won the
hockey
World
team.
Series.
I don't like this conversation anymore.
Oh.
Let's move on. Today in sports, Will, you want to start?
Yeah, we'll go with the Blackhawks again. 1929, the Blackhawks lost NHL record 15th straight home game.
Sorry, that was before we were a dynasty.
Gotta start somewhere. Zach, go the next one.
February 28th, 1940, it was the first televised basketball game, and it was a college game. University of Pittsburgh.
Horns, I know you will. And I've seen Vince Young run for the roses, watch Ricky and Earl strike them